The last wish of a dying girl was to meet the Rock. No one expected him to show up, but what he did afterward left everyone in tears. Daniel stood still beside Sophia's hospital bed, watching the fragile girl who once filled their home with endless laughter. Her tiny chest rose and fell beneath a tangle of 4 tubes. Her pale skin contrasted with the white, sterile sheets. The machines emitted soft beeps, a cruel reminder of how little time they had left. She was only 8 years old, but life had already taken too much from her. Parks, birthday parties, carefree childhood days, all replaced by hospital walls and hushed conversations about survival rates. And yet Sophia never complained. She never asked, "Why me?" She had just one wish, one dream that kept her fighting through the pain. She wanted to meet Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Sophia had watched his movies hundreds of times. She memorized his wrestling moves, and even joked that she'd grow up strong like him. She called herself Sophia the Brave, because The Rock said strong people don't give up. But Daniel knew the truth. Her tiny body was losing the battle, and she didn't have much time left. One night, as the room glowed softly with the blue light from the hospital monitor, Sophia's weak fingers tugged at her father's sleeve. "Daddy," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. "If you write to him, he'll come. He helps people, right?" Daniel swallowed hard, feeling his throat tighten. He had been a soldier, had fought battles no man should ever face, but nothing had broken him like that moment. He wanted to tell her the truth, that men like The Rock were too big, too distant, unreachable, that life wasn't like the movies, that sometimes dreams just didn't come true. But when he looked into her tired, hopeful eyes, he couldn't say it. That night, while Sophia slept, Daniel pulled out an old notebook and began to write. He wrote about his little warrior, who had fought more than anyone he'd ever known, the girl who still smiled, even when the pain was unbearable, the daughter who was running out of time, but refused to stop dreaming. When he finished, he folded the letter carefully, sealing it with a silent prayer. Would The Rock ever see it? Probably not. But at that moment it was all he had left to give. And then the impossible happened. A stranger saw something no one else had. A small act, a single moment, was about to set off a chain of events that would change everything. Daniel mailed the letter, knowing deep down it would likely be buried under thousands of others. But he had to try for Sophia. Days passed, then weeks. No response. He told himself he hadn't expected one, but the disappointment still weighed on his chest like a burden he couldn't shake. Meanwhile, Sophia's condition worsened. Doctors did everything they could to manage her pain, but her energy was fading. Still, she kept smiling, kept whispering, "Sophia the Brave," every time a nurse came to check on her. But even she could feel that time was running out. Then, something unexpected happened. A nurse named Emily, who had cared for Sophia from the start, had been watching everything, the way Daniel never left his daughter's side, the way Sophia's tiny fingers clutched a worn action figure of The Rock even in her sleep. She had seen many children in that hospital, but there was something about Sophia's quiet strength that stayed with her. One afternoon, Emily sat beside Sophia's bed while scrolling through her phone. She looked at Daniel's exhausted eyes, then at Sophia lying so still, her little body swallowed by the hospital blanket. "Does she still talk about meeting him?" she asked softly. Daniel nodded with a tired tilt of his head. "Every day." Emily hesitated for a moment, then made a decision that would change everything. She snapped a photo of Sophia's letter, the one Daniel wrote, and posted it online, with a simple caption, "This little warrior has one dream, to meet her hero Dwayne Johnson. Time is running out. Let's help Sophia the Brave fulfill her wish." She didn't expect much, maybe a few shares, some kind words, but the internet had other plans. Within hours, the post exploded. People shared it thousands of times, tagging The Rock in every comment. Celebrities, athletes, even news anchors reshared it, urging their followers to spread the message. And then it happened. Somewhere across the country, Dwayne Johnson's phone buzzed. His assistant, puzzled by the sudden flood of notifications, opened the post and froze. Without hesitation, she walked straight to The Rock's office. "You need to see this," she said, placing the phone on his desk. Dwayne read the post, then read it again, and in that moment, he knew exactly what he had to do. Daniel was sitting beside Sophie, gently stroking her thinning hair as she dozed. The hospital room was quiet, except for the rhythmic beeping of the machines. He had learned to hate that sound, a cruel reminder that every second counted. He had seen Emily's post, had seen thousands of strangers, sharing Sophie's story, tagging The Rock, hoping, praying. But hope was a dangerous thing. Daniel had spent years learning not to depend on her. Why would it be different now? Then, the door to Sophie's hospital room opened with a slight creak. Daniel didn't bother to look up, assuming it was just another nurse. But then he heard a voice. Deep, familiar, impossible. "All right, where's the brave Sophie?" Daniel's head shot up, and there he was, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, standing in the doorway, an imposing figure in a black hoodie and jeans. No cameras, no entourage, just him, standing there like he belonged, like he wasn't one of the most famous people on the planet. Daniel blinked, holding his breath. This wasn't real. Couldn't be. But then Sophie stirred. Her tired eyes opened, unfocused at first, and then she saw him. For a moment she didn't move. She just looked at him, her frail fingers gripping the blanket. Then, with the smallest and weakest voice she had ever used, she whispered, "The Rock." A warm, slow smile spread across Dwayne's face. "That's me, little one." Sophie's tiny hands flew to her face as tears filled her eyes. She looked at her dad, searching for confirmation, but Daniel was too stunned to speak. Dwayne stepped forward, pulled up a chair, and sat by her bed. "I've met a lot of strong people in my life," he said, "but I heard you're stronger than all of them." Sophie let out a shaky laugh, still trying to process what was happening. I try," she whispered. Dwayne leaned in, lowering his voice like he was sharing a secret. "That's what I like to hear." Tears rolled down Daniel's face as he watched his daughter, his little fighter, shine in a way he hadn't seen in months. The weight on his chest, the fear that had followed him like a shadow, felt a little lighter. The Rock didn't just stay for a few minutes. He stayed for hours. They talked. They joked. He even let Sophie give him a new wrestling nickname, the Great Sophie Slammer, which made her laugh so hard she had to catch her breath. Then, as afternoon turned into night, Dwayne did something no one expected. He took Sophie's tiny hand in his and whispered, "I'm not just here to visit, little one. I'm here to make sure you're never forgotten." Daniel felt his heart stop. This wasn't just a visit. It was something much, much bigger. Sophie could barely believe what was happening. The Rock was sitting beside her, talking like they'd known each other forever. Her hands still trembled as she held the action figure she'd carried with her for years, the one with his iconic raised eyebrow. He noticed it and smiled. "You know, that's one of my favorites," he said, pointing to the figure. "But between you and me, I think Sophie the Brave sounds like a way cooler wrestling name than The Rock." Sophie giggled. Her voice was still weak, but now it was full of joy. "Do you think I could be a wrestler?" she asked, eyes shining. Dwayne leaned in again, voice soft, like sharing a big secret. "I don't think so, little one. I know so." Daniel stayed silent, taking it all in. For the first time in months, he saw his daughter truly happy. The way her eyes sparkled, the way she laughed. He had almost forgotten what that looked like. His chest tightened, but this time, not with fear or sadness, but with gratitude. But Dwayne wasn't just there to shake hands, take a photo, and leave. He was there to give Sophie something she'd never forget. He pulled out a small bag from behind him and placed it on the bed. "Now listen," he said playfully. You and I both know every great wrestler needs their own gear, right? Sophia's eyes widened as she carefully reached inside. Her fingers brushed something soft, familiar. When she pulled it out, she gasped. It was a miniature version of the Rock's championship belt, but with her name embroidered on it. Sophia the Brave was stitched in gold across the front. Tears filled her eyes as she hugged it to her chest. Is it really mine? She whispered. Dwayne smiled. Not only is it yours, little one, you earned it. Because true champions don't need a ring to prove they're strong. The room fell silent for a moment as Sophia clutched the belt tightly, her emotions too big for words. Daniel turned away, wiping his eyes, no longer able to hold back. And then, The Rock did something even more unexpected. He took out his phone and started recording a video. All right, everybody, he said, looking into the camera. I want you to meet someone way stronger than me. Her name is Sophia the Brave, and she's the toughest wrestler I've ever met. Sophia gasped as she realized what was happening. The Rock was talking about her, to the whole world. When he finished recording, he turned to her and said, Now the world knows your name, little one, just like I promised. Sophia didn't say a word. She just reached out, wrapped her little arm around his, and held on tight. Because for the first time since she got sick, she didn't feel like just another hospital patient. She felt like a champion, and she would never forget that day. Sophia's story spread across the internet like wildfire. People from all over the world shared the video, calling her an inspiration, a true fighter. Celebrities, athletes, and even other wrestlers commented, praising Sophia the Brave for her unbreakable spirit. Daniel sat by her bed, watching Sophia's tiny fingers glide across a tablet the hospital had given her. She was weak, her body exhausted from the endless battle, but her eyes still sparkled with the same light as the day The Rock walked into her room. But then, something unexpected happened. One night, as Daniel sat staring at the floor, lost in thought, his phone vibrated. A message appeared from an unknown number. I need you to answer. This is important. He frowned, unsure if it was real. But when he opened the message, his breath caught. It was a video from The Rock. In the clip, Dwayne stood in front of a massive screen, his expression serious but warm. Daniel, Sophia, he said, looking directly at the camera. You've changed my life, and now I want to make sure Sophia's light never fades. Daniel's hands trembled as he turned up the volume. I'm going to start something big, The Rock continued. A foundation in Sophia's name, to help children fighting cancer, support their families, and make sure no warrior ever fights alone. Daniel covered his mouth, his eyes filled with tears. Sophia, your name will live on. Your fight, your strength will inspire thousands of children like you. Sophia, lying beside him, turned her head to the screen. Her breathing was slow but steady. A soft, tired smile appeared on her lips. Really? Daniel barely found the strength to respond. Yes, my love. Really. The next day, the world learned about the Sophia the Brave Foundation. Donations poured in. Families sent messages thanking Sophia for giving them hope. Dwayne Johnson himself announced that he would personally fund treatments for children in her honor. And at that moment, Daniel realized something. Sophia had won. Her story, her fight, would never be forgotten. She was no longer just a little girl fighting cancer. She was a legacy. The days grew quieter. Sophia's laughter, once the brightest sound in the hospital, grew softer. Her body was tired, but her heart remained strong. She kept the championship belt The Rock had given her close to her chest, like a shield against the pain. One evening, as the sun set through the hospital window, Daniel sat beside her, holding her tiny hand. Sophia blinked, looking at him, her voice barely a whisper. Daddy, do you think The Rock still remembers me? Daniel swallowed hard, feeling a lump in his throat. My love, he doesn't just remember you. He made sure the whole world would. A small, peaceful smile touched Sophia's lips. That's good, she whispered. That means I really was Sophia the Brave. Daniel's grip tightened, a tear rolling down his cheek. You always were, my love. Always. That night, As the machines hummed softly, Sophie closed her eyes one last time. She left this world just as she had lived, in quiet strength, wrapped in love. News of her passing spread quickly. The Rock's response was heartbreaking. He posted a photo of Sophie holding her champion's belt, with a caption that stopped the world. She called herself Sophie the Brave, and that's exactly what she was. Rest in peace, champ. Your fight continues. Days later, Dwayne Johnson attended Sophie's memorial. No cameras, no press, just him standing quietly in the back, paying his respects. He wore simple clothes, head bowed, not as a superstar but as a man. After the ceremony, he approached the small urn, decorated with flowers, photos, and the golden belt he once gave her. He leaned down gently and whispered, "You were stronger than all of us, little one." As Daniel watched from a distance, looking at the man who had made his daughter's final wish come true, he understood something profound. Sophie wasn't gone. Her story was only just beginning, because Sophie had transcended. She was no longer just a sick child in a hospital bed. She was a voice, a spark, a light that kept shining in every child who kept fighting, in every parent who found strength through pain, in every person who heard her story and remembered the power of hope, kindness, and unconditional love. Sophie's story is a powerful reminder that compassion can move mountains, that strength isn't always measured in muscles, and that sometimes the greatest heroes wear hospital gowns instead of capes. If the story touched your heart, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that inspire. And if you want to see more incredible moments like this one, check out the videos on your screen right now.